Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Come Inflationist, where I don't just come, I inflate and commit charity fraud.
No child support!
I ran out of Going Baseball OSTs, I had to do some rewrites for the Iceberg. Let's just get on with tier 4. ODEX dub.
This rare strong sword I will send you on your way to heaven. Any last words?
We have already discussed the 4Kids dub for their infamous censorship and the Funimation dub for its sufficient quality. But what if I were to tell you that there's another English dub of One Piece? ODEX is a company that both licensed and released a bunch of anime for the Southeast Asian market. Apart from that, they also made English dubs for their licensed anime, and one of them was One Piece, which they dubbed prior to 4Kids. And if anyone dares to tell me that the 4Kids dub is bad, they have not heard of the legendary bad ODEX dub.
I can't believe you broke your promise, man!
The line deliveries are very unnatural, the audio quality is terrible, and the choices of how they depict some characters are just the weirdest.
When you're done doing what you need to do, pack your bags and get off my ship.
Also, there are like 5 actors voicing all the characters. Usually, you will find one actor playing more than a handful, multiple actors playing one character.
Hey, Sanji! What do you think you're trying to do, anyway?
I say, to make myself a brave seafaring warrior!
Or one talented actor who would go on to do more with their career. ODEX dubbed One Piece up until episode 104, meaning all of you ODEX fans would never get to see Luffy punch Crocodile. Oh, spoilers. The only thing that keep me from hating this dub are 1. This dub is almost lost to time, so who really cares? 2. My One Piece bias sees this as a funny trivia to put on an Iceberg list. And 3. As someone who watched all of Transformers Headmaster dubbed and had fun with it,
Optimus Prime, you're gonna die here.
this is on par.
And the village must be attacked and you must die.
Now that I think about it, both dubs have a similar background of being English dubs from countries where English is not the native language and have a very similar quality. So yeah, not much to say other than they also dubbed Yukio.
Hey, looking good, dude!
One Piece Party. One Piece Party is probably the most prominent spin-off manga I'm going to talk about here. And if I can recommend any One Piece spin-off, I'd recommend this one for hardcore fans that have never heard of this. So brace yourself, because this is a gag manga. And I know that gag manga have a very inquired taste, but if you're like me, then you're gonna like this, cause I love gag mangas. One of my favorite mangas of all time are Dr. Slump and Roboco, and my favorite animes are Gintama and Osomatsu-san. So this is right up my alley. Most of the premises are retelling of previous arcs with a funny twist, making fun of aspects from the story, or just seeing 2 different characters interacting who have never interacted in the first place. One of the most funniest aspect of this gag manga is the portrayal of Trafalgar Law, the popular edgelord of the post-time skip era, who is a total idiot but tries to play it cool. Kinda how most fans view him in general. This manga includes lots of funny synopsises, like Law using Jinkaku Ishoku Shujutsu the personality power on all the Straw Hats, Sorrow encountering the Windsmoke brothers, Drip the fake Sanji, who has a son called Drip, who mimics his dad, who in return is mimicking Sanji, Sorrow in Amazon Lily, the Super Sentai one where this random tertiary character uses Haki to defeat Sorrow, and my personal favorite, an epilogue post-time skip version of the Chopperman universe where both Frankie and Brooke get to be new original characters. Again, pretty fun to read, that is if you can read Japanese. There are only a handful of them translated online, and other times images are shared on Tumblr. Where's Wally? We all know the iconic Where's Wally, or Waldo if you're an American and or Canadian. You open up the book, get blasted with the maximalistic art style of 100 characters, and all you have to do is find that bastard. God knows I can't do it. The franchise has gotten reference from time to time, and even made the strangest of crossovers with One Piece during the 100 We Are One project. It's depicted in this image right here during the raid of Onigashima. It features members of the beast pirates that hadn't even gotten their own color schemes in the anime. And honestly, some of them look better here rather than in the anime, like Poker, whose leg is a single snake, and Nanki, the only member of the Numbers who was cool enough to be on the roof. Also, if you can find Waldo in this image, then feel to like, comment, and subscribe.
Stop watching that, okay?
Romance Dawn version 2. Funny enough, there was another prototype one-shot of One Piece, and unlike the first draft, this one is very different. The only aspect of the manga took from this second draft is Luffy's grandfather, who replaces Shanks in this version, who would later become Marine Vice Admiral Monkey D. Carp. Everything else is exclusive to this one shot. We got blue-haired Nami look-alike called Anne, her best friend who's a panda bird called Balloon, and the antagonist Spiel the Hexagon, who can use magic. Not the magic fruit though, that's a totally different thing. This version is kind of fun, and the aspect of Garp being a pirate is hilarious and something I kind of want in the regular manga. But I guess making him a marine was a funny twist if you read this before One Piece. And unlike the first version, it got a perfect anime adaptation in episode 907. And if you think the Nami comparison only extends to Anne's design, guess who did her voice? Also, Balloon and Spiel are voiced by Usopp and Brook respectively. And finally, Spiel appears in a wanted poster in movie 9, but his name is misspelled as Supial. (3D) Trap Coaster. This used to be lost media until it surfaced online very recently. I think. I don't remember how long it was. One Piece 3D Trap Coaster was a CGI short movie that had limited release in theme parks and such. It starts the Straw Hats getting trapped by the smartest marine captain, Trap. But since he's non-canon, I think his intellect is highly exaggerated. Something psycho-intelli from My Hero Academia. Anyway, he traps them via a giant tower that functions like a water slide, where the 3D ride aspect of the movie shorts comes in. This is also the second 3D One Piece movie, with the first one being the Straw Hat Chase, that features Bust the Bulldog, the greatest One Piece character who has ever existed. Gargon and fusions. So, you guys like fusions? Like from Dragon Ball?
Well, you know, I wouldn't keep anything from my fans, not even this gorgeous cup.
This segment has nothing to do with Dragon Ball, but everything to do with fusions. Like your fusion dances, Potara earrings, or whatever Bobobo does. One Piece has had 2 specific cases, or 3 if you count the One Piece Fusion Generator, a website that hasn't updated in a long while. The lesser known that appears in one manga panel and a 1-minute segment in the anime is the Goja Goja no Mi, eaten by Charlotte Nushi, which lets him fuse with his siblings that turn them into Poppy the Performer. Big Mom gave birth to decuplets, which is not the weirdest birth she gave. The weirdest one was the dwarf. And the more well-known fusion-based ability when Wapol vorts people. Yes, Wapol ate his 2 subordinates, Chess and Kuro Marino, and turned them into Chess Marino. And then some cursed soul asked the question of, what would happen if Wapol ate the first 7 Straw Hats? And Oda gave us the legendary creation of Gargon, not to be confused with the Greyhound from World of Warcraft. Gargon is a human, I think, who has reindeer horns, a nose on his weenus, hair on his shoulders, and an eyebrow on his straw hat. One Piece theory: Gargon is Gear 6. Fuck. Kumamoto. Kumamoto is one of the 47 prefectures of Japan. It's also where Eiichiro Oda was born. In 2016, Kumamoto was hit by an earthquake, in which Eiichiro Oda donated 800 million yen for its revival project. Aside from reconstructions, a part of the project included making statues of the Straw Hats that were shattered around the Kumamoto prefecture and were unveiled from 2018 to 2022. There is even a map showing where each and every statue is, and also shorts called Episode of Kumamoto starring Luffy and Buggy going on a treasure hunt. And now you know why there are 2 Kumamoto tributes in 2 color spreads, one featuring Kumamon, the prefecture's mascot. concept art, and cut content. During any creation of fiction, many ideas flow around that evolve into its final form, and other times it does not come to fruition. For concept art, we can see this picture of the Straw Hats with everyone's favorite members like Luffy, Zoro, the Botanist, Tiny Guy, and Big Fish. Also CP9 with Lucci, Khalifa, Jimbo. For the Shichibukai, we have Snake Tattoo Hancock, Potato Head Maria, Wednesday Adams, and Kuma with a steering wheel on his head that would later be used for Shige's design because his concept art needed something more than just whatever this was. There are also prototype names like Bong Clay's original title was Mr. 2 Happy Birthday, and Blackbeard's name Everything D Teach. As for unused devil fruit ideas, we got Marguerite, who was originally going to have a sew-in Black Cat devil fruit, and unlike other unused devil fruits, that one did not evolve into another and or a better one, like with crab to scissors and flower to mochi. Unless Bakura is a leftover of that idea, but that indicates you know who Bakura is. Then there was Black Maria, who had 2 whole devil fruits before it was decided she should be a spider. As for story aspects, there is Blackbeard's mom and sisters, but as Blackbeard is still an enigma as I'm writing this, they could still be integrated later on. And most infamously, a lot of cut content for Wano, which is crazy because of how long that arc was. Things like Doflamingo was gonna be fighting alongside the Beast Pirates, a flashback explaining Yamamoto and Fuka's relationship, Kuro Koma the Yakuza. With how long One Piece is, just remember this, it could have been longer. In terms of design history, Sanji has had the most interesting scrapped idea. Instead of a blonde suit-wearing chef who loves the ladies, he was originally a black-haired gunslinging cowboy that looked kinda boring. Gil Bastar only wears white clothing and sunglasses, but that design somehow has more of a personality than this guy. But that is far from the weirdest idea for Sanji. Or should I refer to him by his first name, which was Naruto? Yes, Sanji the cook was originally Naruto the cowboy. Oda had to scrap the idea due to a ninja comic that had the exact same name coming out at the same time. Thankfully, I like to think the gunslinger idea was integrated to Usopp, though he uses a slingshot instead. And Oda decided to use Mr. Pink as a template to make the chef for the Straw Hats. And yet, Chopper the Rainbow Reindeer is still weirder than all of this. Dressrosa was long.
Suavemente. Bésame. Que quiero sentir tus labios besándome otra vez. Suavemente. Bésame. Que quiero sentir tus labios besándome otra vez. Suave.
We talked about the Alabasta Dressrosa comparisons. Now let's talk about the other noteworthy thing about Dressrosa. Its length. 102 chapters, 118 episodes, and One Piece, known for editing the anime into a shorter condensed manga accurate version, condensed it into 48 episodes. The second longest One Piece arc right under Wano, whenever that will be finished. Grand Line Review made an hour-long documentary about Dressrosa talking about many of its gripes, including length. The length of this arc features 105 characters, 6 flashback stories, 3 of them are all intertwined with each other, 1 being more of its own thing and 2 very short ones. And all of Dressrosa has spanned around 2003 to 2016, counting both mediums, and had kinda taken over the identity of One Piece. Like, you know how there's a Monopoly game for every pop culture franchise? One Piece did get one, but it was modeled after Dressrosa, despite the series being filled with various characters and settings. Today, the longest arc in One Piece is now Wano, and the only reason I did not have a segment called Wano was long is because Wano was built up to be one of Oda's biggest story arcs in terms of scale, importance, and length. Dressrosa being long just came out of nowhere, and at some point it should have ended early. Like, did we really need the Funk Brothers, Queen, most of the D-Block fighters, 3 separate Dressrosa backstories? I don't know, I haven't written a story before. What would I know about storytelling? Shokugeki No Sanji, the spin-off manga that probably everyone predicted but was also surprising when it came into existence. Made by the duo behind Food Wars Shokugeki no Soma, Yudo Tsukuda, the writer, and Shun Saiki, the artist, who used to make porno. This spin-off depicts slice-of-life stories where Sanji cooks food to solve minor problems and or inconveniences. Things like making a food critic happy, helping a father cook for his daughter's wedding, and so on. And if you don't know the premise of Food Wars, it's a cooking school anime where the MC cooks food so delicious that people get orgasm from the meal, which also happens here. This spin-off is a good read. It features the great talent of Shun Saiki drawing beautiful, delicious, tasty treats. Also, the food looks good. There's one cool moment in chapter 2 where Zoro lends Sanji his Waro Ichimonji for cooking, and I treasured these moments with Sanji and Zoro being bros. Zoro-Sanji shippers unite. Also, lots and lots of horny imagery if you're into that. Also, did you know that Sanji has his own cooking book and a figurine where he's making hot dogs, only it's not a real hot dog? Jump point. Everyone knows good old Chopper and his addiction to his self-made enhancing drugs, the Rumble Balls. It's basically the excuse to make his regular human fruit have any use rather than changing him from a reindeer to a man and a marketable plushie. But with the Rumble Balls, he can change into 4 other forms with 2 additional ones that require specific actions, such as his monster form that someone once told me it reminded them of the dog from Fullmetal Alchemist, and his baby old man form that comes from using Monster Point for too long. It's literally the same thing as the pre-time skip year 3rd weakness. But out of all the 4 original Rumble Ball forms, only one of them has been forgotten or was probably replaced. Jump Point, the form that lets Chopper jump good. A horrible, lanky, ugly form that serves no purpose other than dodging attacks and maybe playing basketball. Man, we really need a One Piece basketball special. During Fishman Island, some of Chopper's form got redesigned, and as someone who has never shown any form of opinions regarding to his forms in terms of visual presentation, I'd say the horn point looks the least awful of them. But then again, making Chopper into a fursona is probably better than his heavy point, the weird donut-shaped neck. But we also got a new form, Kung Fu Panda. But both jump and arm point were never to be seen again, unless you count Heart of Gold, where Chopper gets swole in one sweep. Xuan Shua, Shishua Shua, which means jump point is no more, since Kung Fu Panda can both jump and fight. So in the end, nothing of value was lost. Anyway, here's a drawing of Chopper if he ate 4 Rumble Balls according to Oda. Thanks for that, I will never sleep again. Chopper's Big Adventure. This RPG game for the Wonder Swan from 2003 has you playing Chopper trying to help the crew after they've all been changed into animals. Few interesting facts about these animal designs. Luffy and Nami are the only ones who change into their SBS animal counterparts. Zoro being depicted as a tiger might be a reference to one of his attacks, Toragari, and this would not be the only time he would be depicted as a tiger. He would also be represented as a tiger in the color spread of chapter 651, which features Toshio Asakuma animal sculptures design he made for the figure art Zero line. And look at that, another Luffy Nami as monkey and cat. The other noteworthy thing are the 2 original characters for the game, Fang and Raccoon, who are what I can only describe as prototype minks. With Raccoon it's very obvious, but Fang just looks like a guy, but he's supposed to be an animal guy, I think. There's no let's play of this game anywhere online, and the only thing I found was this review from a YouTuber called Matt Mike. It's a very weird game, and I just had to remind people that it exists. What ifs? As a Dragon Ball enjoyer, I really like the concept of what ifs. It started off as a gimmick in the games and now has become Masako X's favorite content to milk. One Piece has had a minor focus on what if scenario in the fandom. Most popular one I see is if Usopp didn't join the Straw Hats after Enies lobby. But in terms of official ones, there are a handful but still noteworthy. The very first one is the 9th One Piece movie, but I already talked about that one, so let's focus on others. Most of them coming everything from the One Piece magazines, where Oda draws strange what-if version of One Piece characters. But the most noteworthy one comes in the form of Special Episode Luff, a story telling the tale of what if Sabo arrived to save Ace and Luffy during the Marineford. It's a nice little read, only 6 pages, with one of them being a full page spread, and just a wholesome idea altogether. What is your favorite what if, official or fan made? And what if do you want to see Oda draw? I want to see Kaido and Big Mom as Marine Admirals, not just because at one point in their backstories they were gonna be sold off to the government, but mostly because I want to see the drip. Other Easter eggs. Panda Man is not the only Easter egg character and or thing that appears in the series. There's Mikio Ito, a caricature of Oda's friend and fellow manga author Mikio Ito, who appears very differently in various wanted posters that's worth 1 million yen. My favorite one is Sam, a drunk guy who got lost on his way home and has had an extended history of why he drinks. Minamoto the carpenter from East Blue, who only exists to explain a plot hole, and has an identical relative from Wano who has a more prominent role for a tertiary character. But the most popular one of these Easter eggs is Attach, the photographer who takes pictures of criminals for their bounty posters. From his iconic joke where he forgot to take his lens of the camera that led to Sanji drawn poster to actually becoming a canon character working under Big News Morgans. If you want to talk about Easter eggs that are not people, there's the clothing brand of Doskoi Panda, who ironically is a character in One Piece School, but as a replacement for Panda Man for the spin-off. Also, there are 2 off-brands, Dosko One Panda and Cyber Panda, and the more famous criminal brand that's owned by Jamaican Patrick Starfish over there. The weirdest Easter egg character is during the Arlong Park arc. Sanji discusses with Yosaku and Luffy whether Nami is a mermaid or not because of her connection with the Arlong pirates. Then all of a sudden, Luffy pulls a pen and paper and draws what he thinks Nami would look like as a mermaid. Beautiful. Mermaid Nami has become somewhat popular as she actually appeared in a flashback as a background character, and I think she was on a popularity poll at some point. Now we only need that 5-meter tall shipwright to be real. There are 2 other Easter egg characters I haven't mentioned, but I'm gonna save them for a later entry. If I had a nickel every time Aina said later entry, I would have 2 nickels, which is not to say Makino's child. The closest thing Luffy has had to a mother figure, aside from Curly Daden, is the bartender Makino, a woman who has interacted with Shanks around twice in the first chapter of the manga, and just like any My Hero Academia fan, 1 or 2 interaction is enough for people to ship. Oda has probably entertained the notion of the ship where Makino gave birth to this unnamed child, and Oda stated in an SBS that the father was, and I quote, probably that person. With all the characters Makino has interacted with, it's obvious who the father is. Hikumamoto.
What the fuck?
Nah, it's Shanks, probably. And if that were true, and the whole Shank is a world noble theory, that would mean this unnamed child is a world noble, probably. But as we have learned, when you have sex with a commoner, it doesn't really matter. Everything I just said could probably be true, since fan theories do intend to cloud actual facts for some fans. Batman Has Haki. The anime has a tendency of giving armament haki to many tertiary characters as an excuse of extending fights. Man, haki used to be this unique thing. Now randos like Alpaca Man can use it. Now it's kinda losing its charm. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but then again, there's an anime only scene during Wano where Luffy fights a random beast pirate gifter named Batman who ate the bat smile fruit. And like how the anime likes to extend some random scenes to make the anime longer so it doesn't catch up to the manga, Batman got to have a fight with Luffy even though it never happens in the manga. Also, for some reason, he can use armament haki, which he uses to guard himself from Luffy's attack and then suddenly counterattack. This is not that noteworthy, but the phrase Batman Has Haki was too funny not to include here. Another aspect of this is a random fact: there's a filler arc where animals possess haki, which is not a thing that has happened in the manga. Yet. Digital Art Island Adventure. Digital Art Island Adventure was a live attraction special that was a collaboration with the Japanese digital art collective Team Lab. In this attraction, we meet the Coca-Cola Zero of Caesar Clown, Dr. Ballum, a man who is obsessed with Chopper that leads him to start cloning him. That's where the digital aspect comes in. The clones are actually sketches that the guests drew and were made into 3D models that end up murdering Dr. Ballum. You can all say I'm lying about the murder, but that would imply that you care about Dr. Ballum. 10th Treasures, an Oda's tribute to other mangakas. Originally, this was supposed to be 2 separate segments, but it's overall the same thing, so it just made it into one thing. I'm really tired right now. 10th Treasure was a special illustration book to celebrate the franchise's 10th anniversary. It features an illustration of Nami and Robin taking a bath with some monkeys that censor their naughty bits. The feet. But the biggest highlights of this book are the tribute art from other famous manga artists like Taito Kubo, Akira Toriyama, Masashi Kishimoto, and many others. The weirdest one in this piece is Tsunomaru, the author of Midori no Makibao, where they depict the Straw Hats as ugly naked babies. Chopper is human for some reason. Not the last time that would be the case. But the biggest tribute I've seen to One Piece are the covers on Shonen Jump 2007, which features the main characters of the current series during that time cosplaying as One Piece characters, and 2021 that features One Piece characters drawn in the art style of the current series. Most of the choices were probably cause they represented similar themes to the said mangas, but my headcanon is that each mangaka chose to draw their favorite One Piece character, which is really funny if you think about it. But what's better than seeing other artists drawing One Piece? Seeing Oda doing the same thing for other manga series. Like with 10th Treasure, almost all of the time it was for an anniversary thing. Naruto's 10th anniversary, Koji Kame's 30th anniversary, Bleach EX Art Expedition that celebrated the 20th anniversary, 25 years of JoJo, and the most recent one I discovered was for To Love Ru Chronicles 10th anniversary. The tribute thing is also referenced in the cover pages, like in chapters 766 and 839, where he celebrates the conclusion of Naruto and Koji Kame respectively. The Naruto one is kinda funny because it features only Luffy, Chopper, and Nami, whose first letter in their names spell out Naruto. Nami also stands in front of the cover to hide Naruto's face, because let's be fair, Oda's Naruto is cursed, while he's eating Luffy's favorite food, meat, while Luffy does the vice versa. Koji Kame tributes are too many to count. Apart from the first 2, there's also him just making a cameo in the manga. I would not blame him for showing such admiration for this series, since it's the longest Shonen Jump series out there, and One Piece might one day surpass it in the next 3 to 5 years. Only time to tell. Alright, tier 4 done. Tier 5 comes out yesterday. Fuck, the pig is still dead. I just need to I need to bring him back to life.
The One Piece is real.